Welcome to Queerness, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. Well, I'm glad that whatever got Shanna didn't get you.
You and me both, brother. She was technicolor yawning all evening, as they say.
I've never heard that. Oh,
I felt so bad for her. And I try to stay very calm when she doesn't feel good because she's emotional and sometimes she gets panicky. And so I try to stay real cool and calm and collected. But inside, I'm like, oh my God, I need to help. You know, I feel bad, but she's okay. She's doing all right today.
oh man, food poisoning it's a very frustrating feeling because it's not like a stomach virus or something where you're like, okay, I know, I wasn't in control of whether this happened to me or not. But food poisoning, you're like angry at the thing you ate.
Yeah. And then we had Chinese food for dinner, so we're not going to be able to have Chinese food for a long time.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a byproduct of the situation. Listeners, in case you don't, my wife had, we think that there's no guarantee, but it's the only thing we really had different yesterday. I had McDonald's for breakfast. I like a good McGriddle now and then. And she had Dunkin'. She had a croissant bacon sandwich. And she was very ill last night. And instead of being in control, you just feel like it just needs out of you right now. Like no matter which direction it goes. And it's just the worst.
No, yeah, we wish her well. Have you ever done it to yourself? Like you cooked something? Like it's one thing to get it from a restaurant and it's another thing to do it to yourself.
No, I don't. I'm very careful when it comes to food and stuff. My sister, on the other hand, and her family will eat anything, anytime. Like when we were doing my mom's wake right after she died, I love the baked spaghetti from Giovanni's. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world, right? And my nephew likes it as well. And he had eaten some and he had left it on the table in the back part of the house, so nobody had cleaned it up. And the next morning I got up and found him eating that spaghetti. And I was like, Jacob, no. And my sister was like, what? With all the chemicals they put in it, I'm sure it's fine. Spaghetti that had been sitting out for like 18 hours, not refrigerated. I just could never.
I mean, on the one hand, I kind of understand what she was thinking, even though it's not accurate.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that, like, for instance, the preservatives and stuff we put into food to stop it from spoiling as quickly, to make it a little bit more shelf stable, processes we do to food, like that can keep it edible for longer if you take care of it, right? Like, so a piece of cake in the fridge a store-bought cake is going to live longer, but not if you just leave it out at room temperature. Like, preservatives, all that stuff don't cancel out bacteria. And as soon as something hits the air, it's got bacteria on it.
Yeah.
And if you leave it sit and it's got access to sugar, which is what bacteria eats, which is what food is made of.
You know what's really bad is that my sister is a manager of a med lab at a hospital. She knows germs and bacteria better than anybody. And she's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, I just could not. I was appalled. And they were all like, no, we do this all the time. I was like, maybe that has caused the crazy in your family. I don't know.
Yeah, this is what's wrong with y'all.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently. I saw that video the other day and now it's just in my head. Do you know the little kid that says, apparently?
Yeah.
Like 100 times in the same video. I saw it the other day.
What does he say? What's he talking about, though? He's at an event of some kind.
It's a news video and I forget what he's talking about. I just watched it the other day. What? He's at the fair.
Yeah. I thought it was like a fair or a street vendor type thing. And yeah, they're trying to get a soundbite out of him about the affair. And he just so unselfconscious. Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I've heard that word, which I can't believe how many times I've heard it over the last week. It's more common than you would think. Come on, Rue.
Well, I think it's that Bader-Meinhof effect of once something becomes salient to your perspective, you notice that it's a lot more common than it was before you had paid any attention to it.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I couldn't figure out whether our phones and social media were listening to us or not, because I was like, it could be Bader-Meinhof. This was way back in the day before they had admitted that they were data farming us. So like when we started to get ads and things on websites during Web 2.0, I was like, what's this doing here? How did you know I was thinking about that?
Right? It is wild how they it really shit comes up immediately after you start talking about it. It's
I
wild.
swear it'll come up because I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's a bridge too far, you know?
Yeah.
That's one reason I have like my group chats are in Signal. It's not because I think I'm some sort of elite spy and the government wants to know what I want to know. It's so that I can fucking talk to people without my algorithm and AdSense and whatnot listening to me. Because like if you say, "Oh man, I'm craving some Taco Bell," and then on your fucking TV you're watching YouTube, and you know I don't have YouTube Premium. I'm a cheapskate. A Taco Bell
Same.
ad comes up. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not doing that to me.
Have you ever used the Taco Bell app?
No, I haven't frequented Taco Bell much since like restaurants started to do apps. I've used the McDonald's one several times.
The Taco Bell app, when you place an order, it rings the Taco Bell bell. It goes dong.
Nice.
Makes me laugh every time. But you get free stuff. You get like they call it their hot tier item, and we always get either the potatoes or cinnamon twists or chips and cheese or something, and you can get that free. So I mean, it's the same thing. Ordering it through the box or through the thing, you just get free stuff if you do it through the thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I love a rewards program. We're gonna have to stop talking about food so poor Shanna can relax.
they
Sorry,
do have
Shanna.
some new stuff at Taco Bell. They have been innovating their menu recently. They have the Cantina Chicken menu. Shanna gets the Cantina Chicken Quesadilla roll up.
I love Cantina chicken.
It looks pretty good. And then they have the mini taco shell, like taco salads, but they're tiny. You know how they have like they put the salad in the shell. They have
No,
miniature
I haven't
ones of
seen
those
that one.
now. They just brought the enchilito back yesterday.
I think there's a Taco Bell over in the city that I go to my boxing class in, so maybe I'll go by there. Man, I ate like a fucking trash panda yesterday because I had a bunch of errands to run. I can't be trusted. Like when I'm at home, obviously there's nothing near here, so where am I going to get garbage food? I can only eat what I cook, and that's been straight up exposure therapy for me because I used to love to cook, but my OCD had gotten so bad that I couldn't do anymore. Talking about being scared of foodborne illness, I couldn't touch food. Like I would, if I had to touch a piece of, especially poultry or pork, one of the ones that has the bad stuff in it, it's like I would touch it and I have to wash my hands and touch it again, have to wash my hands, and I couldn't cut it without having to like if I set the knife down, I had to wash a new knife. And so I had gotten so trapped by my neuroses that I had gone to a place of a really restricted diet and not very happy. Like food should make you in an alleged developed society like ours, food should be able to bring you happiness and comfort at least some of the time. And I wasn't having that experience. I was just trying to calorie max so that I didn't die. And so moving here where there just were no options, I had to start cooking. And so yesterday, or I don't remember, someday I made chicken curry, and I was cutting it, and I didn't wash my hands in between. I was like, I just washed everything afterwards, like a normal person, or what I imagine a normal person is like. This is weird, sitting in the hallway recording. That's my stairs behind
No,
me.
that's my bathroom behind me. I have a bathroom and Shanna has a bathroom. That's mine.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I have the one bathroom and it's upstairs, but I also have it's called a rough out, which is in just one commode in the basement. And in these old houses, they weren't even really intended to be used. It's for the water pressure.
Yeah. I read that
It's
somewhere recently. We wanted a corner unit that had sliding glass doors on the first floor, and to get that, we had to take a two-bedroom, two-bathroom, which is one of the reasons it's so expensive. Plus, it's an ADA apartment, so it's got some bells and whistles in it, like the kitchen's bigger, things like that.
Does it have the handlebars in the bathtubs and stuff?
No, they didn't go that
Oh,
far. The building next to us has a couple of people in wheelchairs, and they have electric opening doors. So I think they have this one. I think is meant for wheelchairs because everything's so wide, like you can
yeah.
get in and out of everything really easily.
Oh, I bet that's easy to move into.
I dragged a couch through the glass doors. It was, you know, if next time I move, I'm using movers again because I'm too old for that shit now, and I don't have any friends that would, you know, I could pay in beer and pizza anymore. So
That's not we're not living that college kid experience anymore where
yeah,
you can.
my brother used to help me. He did a Forrest Gump impression. He said, "I'm wearing my moving shoes" when he was helping me move, and that was a dumb joke that we one of the good memories I have of my brother, him and his moving shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole family has helped me move several times before, back when I, was younger, and they were closer and they were younger too. Come up and just, my dad, they would bring one truck or another, and we would load all of my shit in it and take it from one shitty apartment to the next one.
Yeah. Before my dad died, he would show up with his trailer truck and a couple of his men friends that I had never met before, and they would just move all of our shit. Like they
Yeah.
were just, you know, we would have it all boxed up and ready to go, and they would put it on the trailer, and Mark would follow us to where we were going. They would unload it, and they would leave. It was wonderful. I
Yeah.
That was one thing my dad really did help me with was moving and stuff. He was really great about that.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing that it's not very difficult to, like that doesn't take a ton of forethought. It's literally you just show up and you do what you're told, kind of.
Yeah.
And that appeals to some folks. Other folks hate that kind of thing. Like, I'll help you do literally anything else. I'm
Yeah.
not going to help you
That would
move.
be me. I hate moving with a passion.
Like, you got any taxes that need done?
We decided we're gonna stay in this apartment because they sent us the lease renewal, and it's only a $30 increase, and where Winda and Baby have passed, our rent for pets will go down $30, so we'll even out, so there's no raise in the rent, so we might as well stay here for the year.
If you can make it work and you don't have to add that stress of moving, and the place is comfortable, fuck it,
Yeah.
stay
Yeah,
put.
it's very small, but it's 950 square feet, the whole apartment.
I have heard much worse. I've lived in much
Yeah.
worse. I lived
Yeah,
in
for
a
sure.
190 square foot
Wow.
apartment. Yeah, they're called shotgun apartments, I think, is the style, and you'll recognize this layout. So you walk in the door; it has one door. Sometimes there'll be another door out the back, but into what is on one side kitchen, the other side living room. They're one room and they're sort of stuck together. Behind them is a bedroom through a door, and then inside the bedroom is the bathroom. And so
Yeah.
you just walk.
That's the exact layout of a girl that I dated in college, what her apartment was like.
Yeah. So there was a lot of those in Richmond, and so I lived in several of them. And back then I paid $300 in rent for several years there. That was my budget, so I would just go with whatever I could find. But Richmond was so. Some college towns are very good at being college towns in terms of having a wide variety of the stuff you need for people to be able to live comfortably. And Richmond was one of them. And I've lived in a shitload of college towns
Yeah.
because I work in higher ed,
Yeah.
and I typically I think people have their own preferences. I know people who have worked in higher ed for as long as I have, but never once lived in the same town as the college they work at because they don't want that experience. But I was never rich enough to do that.
Yeah. I loved living in BG. I really
Mm.
did. They dragged me out of there kicking and screaming.
No,
I left BG. I had a sweet deal. I was paying $750 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment with a garage and off-street parking and,
that house
all
you
the
had was pretty sweet. I actually was thinking about some of the, not parties really, but some of the get-togethers we had over there. With Andy would come over, Cletha would come over
yeah.
sometimes, and Andrew, and just sitting around. Everyone had, people would have their preferred substance, and some folks would have none. By that time,
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking anymore, so we would just sit around. We watched a lot of YouTube. We'd be cooking something and just hanging out, listening to music. Maybe, I don't know. Don't have those experiences anymore.
Because I'm still in the same place, but everybody's gone,
Right.
and there's just echoes of everybody around. So that's one good reason that I'm not in BG right now. I think it would be even more lonely than it is. But then again, we
Oh,
don't know a single one of our neighbors here.
Well, that's how it felt going back to Richmond. When I went back to work at EKU after being gone for 12 years or something, all of the ghosts were there, like sort of like the impression of where things had been was still there, but the thing wasn't there anymore. And it was actually kind of lonelier than just being lonely somewhere. Although yesterday I went to hang out with my friends up in who do live up in the town where the college we worked at was, and that was fun. Hadn't done some serious socializing for like many hours in quite a while.
I went to the drive-in again this week and we saw Toy Story 5.
I didn't even know that was out until I saw Andy Bashir post with Tyler Childers about it on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Well, we had seen 1 through 3, so we watched Toy Story 4 this week, and then we watched 5. It was pretty good, it still holds up. I don't know what else they can do with that story, like, they I think they have reached the end, but who knows, there could be Toy Story 17, they could keep coming up with ideas.
Thought they were going to do that with those Cars movie for a while. I saw the first one. I haven't seen any of the other actual Toy Story ones, but I watched that Lightyear movie, which it is still the same franchise, but it's like more of a tween movie, I think. And they had replaced Tim Allen with Chris Evans for the voice of Lightyear. It was cute. I really liked it.
I haven't seen that one.
There's a lesbian couple. He like has a peer or maybe a commander, I don't know. And we experience the passage of time through their relationship and like them raising their daughter. It's really sweet.
Yeah. The second movie that was playing was that Nate Bargatze movie that's out. Well, we watched a little bit of it, but I had to pee, so we left because it was really bad. So
The first I've heard about this man was over apparently he's being canceled or something.
yeah, I knew who he was because I follow a lot of stand-up comics and things like that, so he wasn't new to me.
Okay.
But yeah, because he showed up at the UFC fight, people are saying that he politicized his work, and so now they're trying to cancel him, which I disagree with. You know what I mean? Like, if he wants to go to something like that, that's fine. I don't think we should cancel him over that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Because we don't know why he went. You know, he could have been. There's a lot of different reasons he could have went.
I mean, I like MMA. I don't like UFC because I don't like Dana White. That whole organization I don't like, but I love martial arts. I like mixed martial arts. And I guess I could understand if I was like a mega fan. If I go to every single UFC, like there are some people who are completionists, and there are some people who are like, I go to every single UFC, and this one just happens to be white nationalist shit show.
Right?
I don't know. It sucks when the thing you like becomes politicized. And that I think that goes for a lot of pop culture things. And I think people from working class background, like the things that are most popular for us, like NASCAR, mixed martial arts, monster trucks, do whatever it is, whatever stuff that people who are from blue collar backgrounds like, it tends to get really politicized in right wing ways. And it's like, it sucks because now I have to think about that while I'm trying to enjoy this thing. I don't know. Like, I wasn't rich enough to become a soccer fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was never introduced to soccer. I guess my sister played when she was really little, but by the time mom got to me, that was out the window. And then I never got exposed to basketball either. I don't think I've ever played anything beyond horse ever. I've never played an actual game of basketball. I wouldn't even know how to do it. But softball, I was all in on softball.
Speaking of comedians, we did have an assignment from last week that was pretty fun. We talk a lot about humor and comedy. We both like stand up, and we also both like to be funny.
Yeah.
And I think in the past we have talked about like why we think humor is important. So I was thinking about that while going over all the many options for sets I could talk about. But I was thinking humor is actually pretty queer. Like in practice, making fun of something is queer, like in the queer theory sense of the word. Like you're trying to ruin it a little bit. You're trying to fuck it up a little bit so that it becomes a ridiculous version of itself, or it makes a statement about something else. Do you know what makes a certain joke or comedian or set stick with you personally?
If you can make me laugh without going into, like, dick jokes, that is a standout performance to me, right? Because I just think people that go straight for the sexual humor and stuff like that, that's easy marks, right? Telling me a poop joke, that's an easy mark. If you can make me laugh without going for the low hanging fruit, that's really what I find, good about comedians. So, finding something some common ground and exploiting it without going low, I guess, is what stands out to me. Like Mitch Hedberg is one of my favorite. I had him as because I watched several different things this week trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I watched a couple of Mitch Hedbergs. He was one of my. I narrowed it down to 3 options, and he was number 3. So I watched some of his stuff this week, and he was so funny. And I still quote him all the time. Like every time I get a donut and they try to give me a receipt, I'm like, I just can't imagine what I'm going to have to prove that I had a donut. They gave me a receipt, and I filed under D for donut.
Yeah, he had this talent for finding the absurd in things that we all take for granted.
He said, "Some people get cavities. I call them a place to keep me's."
I remember Janine Garofalo once made a joke about somebody. It was in a movie, actually. I think it was that one with Uma Thurman. They're like trying to sell her pore minimizing creams or something like that. And she was like, no, do you have any pore maximizing creams? I would like somewhere to keep my spare change. And she's another example of somebody who's just extremely dry. But also, there's kind of something that I don't really love are the angry comedians.
Yeah,
It's not being angry; it's the screaming. Right? Sam
yeah,
Kinison, I can't.
agreed. Yeah,
Although the exception to the angry comedian rule is Lewis Black, who he does use like screaming to punctuate his joke. I like him, and even though like occasionally he will scream. Do you have a favorite kind of joke?
observational humor
Yeah.
is my favorite kind. The absurd and the ordinary. The noticing the neurotices of people in general. I like that kind of thing. Things that catch you off guard are my favorite. I also am not a screaming fan of that kind of stuff. Sam Kinison is probably my least. Him and Andrew Dice Clay are probably my least favorite comedians ever. But I do like people like Brian Regan, who kind of yells, right? But he is so clean that you can't. He does it in a really funny way. So I give him some slack there.
On the topic of like sexual humor and stuff like that, I was thinking about it as you were talking and I'm like, I just don't want that from straight people. Like, I want
Right?
that. I want it in a context that it goes the extra mile of humor because the way that like queer people do like innuendo and comedy, it's just smarter. They're more intelligent. Straight comics aren't very smart to me. I know that
Yeah.
that's reductive, it's generalizing. I don't care. I think that having to be more creative in life in general because you live in a marginalized identity makes you more creative in any art you do.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways to be marginalized. Queer is not the only one. So it doesn't mean straight people can't have that experience. But, I think there's a reason a lot of comedians have certain marginalized experiences.
Right. No, I agree with that completely. The people that I have found to be funniest in my life are people that had kind of a tough way to go sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think it's because you have to find ways to laugh at life or you're just going to kill yourself, you know? Like like I figured out when I was very young that it was easy to make my mom laugh. And when she was crying, I could change that by making her laugh. And so I became funny, basically.
That's more than one kind of trauma. Like that's a childhood trauma that like made you responsible for the mood of your parent. Like that's a kind of
Yeah.
parentification. And humor, I think it has two. It can have lots of jobs, but two of its very important jobs are like a utility to keep someone safe, to manage a situation, to some sort of social component, right? Like interpersonal type of utility. And the other is to mock power. I think the most important thing humor can do is mock dominant paradigms. Notice like your brand of humor is you like puns. And I like wordplay and puns and stuff too. One of my favorite kind of jokes is called a malapropism. It's named after a character named Mrs. Malaprops, who in turn was named after malaprop just means misusing a word in a very specific way. So it's when a person uses a word that sounds similar to a word but changes the
Yeah.
whole meaning. My mom used to make these were very popular jokes where I grew up in Jellicoe and Williamsburg. So my mom would say if she had a medication to pick up, she was going to pick up her subscription. And I just thought that was hysterical because it's, yeah, you subscribed to life for that. Yogi Berra was really big on these. That's a lot of his witticisms, they're malapropisms. Like when he was talking about switch hitting and he said, yeah, you hit from both sides of the plate because he's amphibious. And I fucking love it. So it just seems so clever to me. And it's also like just the nerdiest kind of humor. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I can love when a drag queen is making, like innuendo about dicks or something. Like I can enjoy that as well. I just need it to be clever. You're not going to get me laugh by saying the word dick. That's right. I just made myself laugh, so that's not quite accurate. If I say it, then I can laugh at it. I don't know. So we both picked a specific set. So I haven't seen the one that you sent.
Okay. It's a 3-minute kind of compilation of a larger set, and it hit all of the quotable parts of it. So I thought it was perfect. Like I quote that thing. I've been quoting it for years. So.
And I picked one. This was actually voted the most important or funniest joke of all time by a British poll. It is Emo Phillips' famous Golden Gate Bridge bit. It's the section when it'll often be clipped to like maybe a 4 or even 5 minute section. We don't need to listen to the whole thing, especially because he is such a fucking weirdo. Have you seen this guy before?
No.
Oh, he's weird. His affect is so this is from 87. I don't know the name of the special. Let me see if it says in the description. The Hasty Pudding Theater HBO special from 1987. So the setup to this joke is that he says, we need to be kinder to each other. We need to learn to celebrate what we have in common and, recognize the humanity in each other. And he starts to tell a story about he's walking along the Golden Gate Bridge and he sees someone standing up on the ledge and they're, like they're going to jump. And he stops them and he's like, what's going on? You have so much to live for. And there's a bizarre bit in here about how the guy wants to kill himself because he has a horse face. So he starts making all these jokes about how his face is like a horse. And they're very funny, but I cut them out because it goes on kind of a long time. But anyway, he starts to say, don't you have anything to believe in? Isn't it great that, God is out there? And so this becomes a bit. It's one of the most famous bits about religion in comedy. And so he asks the guy about his religion. So that's where I'm going to pick up.
He said, I used to believe in God. I said, that's good. Were you a Christian or a Jew? He said, a Christian. I said, me too. Protestant or Catholic? He said, Protestant. I said, me too. What franchise? He says, Baptist. I said, me too. Northern Baptist or Southern Baptist? He says, Northern Baptist. I said, me too. Northern Conservative Baptist or Northern Liberal Baptist? He says, Northern Conservative Baptist. I said, me too. Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist or Northern Conservative Reform Baptist? He says, Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist. I said, me too. Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Great Lakes region, or Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Eastern region? He says, Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Great Lakes region. I said, me too. Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1879, or Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1912. He says, Northern Conservative Fundamentalist Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1912. I said, die, heretic!
I love that. So
That was
so
great.
often in my head, like I'll hear "die heretic" or I'll say it under my breath if I don't like something. There's
It's
everything to
hilarious.
love about that joke, you know? I mean, first, it's the ridiculousness of whether someone agrees with our fundamentals or our religion, whether we care whether they live or die. But also, like we were talking about, there's 45,000 denominations of Christianity. How do they even talk to each other?
That reminds me of a comic that I had. There were two, like, they were at war, and there were two sides, one on the left, one on the right, and there was empty space between them. And one had a flag with a rabbit on it, and the other had the same flag, but the rabbit was upside down. And they were saying that they were at war, and it basically is the same shit, just a different way of phrasing it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I honestly like that's the one of his that I've seen the most is he kind of annoys me actually. His whole like performance style, his affect kind of gets on my nerves, but I get it, right? It's just that's his thing. It's a shtick. It's very 80s to me in that way, but yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking love that
Good
bit so
comedy
much.
has no time. Like, it's timeless, right? That would
Yeah.
be funny in 1989 or 2026. Either way, that's
Yeah.
good comedy. Yeah.
Die, heretic! And I pushed him over. Well, listeners, let us know if you've heard Emo Phillips before, if you heard that bit before. And of course, let us know what your favorites are. I have John Panette pulled up here. This is Beck's choice bit called Raviolis and a Nap.
Which is a mantra of mine, as you will see.
I went to the gym today. Listen first. First, listen. Since February, I've been going to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. I don't like it. I go because I want to be healthier. I have such a long road ahead of me. I lost 100 pounds, and people say to me, wow, we can really see it in your face. How big was my head before I started this journey? Apparently, I was the Kool-Aid man. Nobody ever said anything to me. Oh yeah, Kool-Aid's here. That's John. His head's the size of a manhole cover. We don't talk about it, though. Shh. So in February, I hired a trainer. I've had many since then. Some quit. Some turned to drugs and alcohol. Then he says to me, give me a sit-up. I said, oh, nay. I don't do ups. I told him that when I signed up. I don't do ups. I do downs. Sit down, lay down. Blackjack, I'll double down. Give me a cheeseburger, I'll wolf it down. Put on a little music, I'll boogie down. But I don't do ups. Ups defy gravity. Gravity is a law. I obey the law. So, I see people at the gym, and I just don't think healthy. I do this machine. Do you know this horrible machine? I don't know the name of it. I call it the horrible machine.
Elliptical.
I started in February. I could do 5 minutes, but I would have to cry for 2.5 of those minutes. People don't want to see that at the gym. They complain. Take him off that machine. He's crying. Now I can do 45 minutes, and it's a real miracle. But, yeah, and I'm a pleasure to be around, too. I see other people working out on the machines. They're thinking, what machine am I going to do next? Maybe I'll do weights. And I'm thinking if I do 45 minutes and live, I'm going to have raviolis and a nap. So the last 15 minutes is a chant. Raviolis and a nap. Raviolis and a nap. I'm like this on the machine. The trainer comes by and says, I see you sweating. That's great. You know, you're burning fat. Oh, good. I hope it's a control burn. Because if this baby goes up all at once, there's going to be a mushroom cloud over this gym.
So raviolis and a nap is one of my mantras for life.
Well, and I was thinking about like both of our decision process was about whether we have a vocal stem resulting from the bit. So I definitely like if it's something that becomes part of my lexicon or part of, like you say, mantra, my self-talk. Apparently, that's important in whether
Yeah,
it sticks with me.
I don't do ups, I do downs. That's another one that I have used. Gravity is a law.
Ugh,
I obey the law.
gravity is a law.
The other one that I considered doing was another John Panette, where he goes to a water park with his family, and that one was pretty funny too. As somebody who's been to a water park while fat, it was hilarious.
I remember there was kind of a heyday of comedy specials back in the 2000s. Maybe this is a kind of the when Comedy Central started. It used to be the Comedy Channel, and then it became Comedy Central around that time. And that was when comedy, like stand-up comedy anyway, became so accessible to those of us that didn't have Sirius XM radio.
Right.
Didn't know how to buy a comedy album. Do you remember buying comedy albums?
I had a Bill Cosby one. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Like, yeah. I used to think Bill Cosby was a great comic, and then he did what he did.
He
So,
was. He was just also a piece of shit rapist.
yeah. But not to say, but excuse. I really did find him to be like he had some really funny stuff. Like when he was talking about having a fart in front of his kids. Like that's one of the funniest pieces of writing I have ever seen ever. It's hilarious because he talks about an elephant going under the chair. It's really funny.
Yeah. Did you see that elephant that went under there? Yeah, it lifted
Yeah.
Dad up about 3 feet.
Pretty much. That's pretty much the bit. And
Yeah.
like that had me rolling when I was young.
You know what's funny is I'm pretty sure that closes that special. That's the end of Bill Cosby himself,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that special for talking about grandparents, in particular, like what it was like to watch your parent change their whole treatment of children when they become a grandparent. I remember he said, that's not the person that raised me. That's an old person
Yeah.
who's trying to get into heaven. And it was like, that is exactly what it feels like interacting across those generations. But I mean, yeah, for comedy, he was a very important person. He was
Yeah.
also a rapist, and also it's
Yeah.
problematic, right? He contributed to respectability politics for Black Americans.
Yep.
He was very influential in that, intentionally influential. I remember when he was the first big set of accusers. He had been accused before and nobody listened. Whenever this was that he was actually indicted, maybe 15 years ago now, it's been a while. I was talking to my grandparents and I remember they were like, well, they're trying to ruin his life. I was like, why are you defending him? Why are white people defending Bill Cosby so much? And I started thinking about how important he is to hegemonic whiteness. Like he's one, their token. He's a success story. The Huxtable, the show, he's a fucking doctor. He's something that white people can point to and say, I'm not racist. I like Bill Cosby.
Yeah. He's a model minority.
Yeah, model minority. That's right. And the way he spoke to and about other Black men in particular.
And their pants, especially.
Their
The only
pants.
time I've ever had to throw a kid out of class, I've been teaching since 2013, right? And the only time I've ever had to kick a kid out of class was we were talking about rape, and he just went off and started talking about how Bill Cosby was framed. And, that's a conversation we could have had if he would have stayed reasonable, but he started screaming about it. And he was a young Black man, which I found really interesting. And a football player at that. Like he was exuded a lot of masculinity and that kind of thing. I had several problems with that kid that semester, but that was just one of them.
I can't imagine what it must be like to be a Black man in America in general, but especially any time something like that happens. Like, that is impacting their real daily lives in ways that we could just never fathom. I mean, because it's something, every time there's a school shooter now or something, everybody's like, well, they're probably a transgender or something.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's not like people can't tell that I'm trans, right? A black man has to walk around visible as a black man. So, because I remember, do you remember OJ? I was in middle school during, when the chase,
I was in high school. Yeah.
the kids at school, it was very tense between the black kids and the white kids during that whole trial,
We didn't have any black kids for that to be a problem. We had 2 girls that were of mixed race, and that was it.
Oh. Well, there was quite a few black kids, and then there were the white kids who like hung around with the black kids and wanted to be like them. So
Yeah.
I tried to find the Kathleen Madigan bit that I also is a vocal stem for me, but I couldn't find it. It's not really that important. It's one little thing she says about the nightly news. She's talking about how antiquated the concept of sitting down in front of the TV and someone going, "Do you know what happened today?" is.
Right.
And I can hear her in my head regular points during the day going, "Do you know what happened today?"
She reminds me a lot of my college roommate, my freshman roommate, because she is also from St. Louis. She's very funny. She has a raspy voice, kind of like that. So they're
I
very
love her.
similar.
I could listen to her talk forever.
I also had a couple of her specials.
Yeah.
Her later stuff, she's getting a little more cynical, which I don't enjoy as much. But she's really funny, and especially her first couple of specials.
That's a really valid observation because cynicism, it's bad for us in general, right? Like a little bit of it, like we can't help it sometimes, but you should never reward cynicism. You should never water your cynicism, flower yourself. It is not good for you. It's bad for your worldview. It's bad for your ability to relate to people and to feel connected. And so whenever it shows up and doesn't leave somewhere, I can't stay there. Like I can't stay here with you while you make us all miserable. I had to get rid of a friend for that reason. I was like, this constant cynicism spewing out of you at all times, I can't live with it. I literally cannot live my life with you in it. I'm sorry. It's only happened. I have cut exactly two people off as friends, and he was one of them. The other one pulled a gun on me.
I lost a couple of friends over Trump being elected, but that's really the only time I've cut many people off. People I never would have thought would voted for him, and they absolutely did. And then I got into it with a girl that I had been friends with since I was 16. My second job, I worked at a Fazoli's, and we worked together there, and we became really close. She was talking about how being deaf was not a disability, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And my best friend is deaf. So I have a particular, I am defensive about people talking shit about deaf people.
That's
and so we got
weird.
into it over that. Yeah. Yeah, I think she was trying to say that deaf people are just like regular normal people, which of fucking course they are.
Yeah, but that is so. We are very, very bad at talking about disability in an affirming way, in like a way that centers the person and not the difference between them and any random person, as though we don't all have something that needs a little help, right?
Right.
Like I'm wearing glasses right now. That's a prosthetic. But we like to talk about them like, oh, you're not a deaf person. You're just a person. It's like, well, okay. Deaf people aren't people.
Oh, let him make a phone call and tell me that it's not an impairment. You know what I mean? Like, turn on the radio. Tell me it's not an impairment. Because my best friend, when I met her, she was fully hearing. Right. And it's a degenerative thing. And the older she got, the worse her hearing got. And now she wears hearing aids, but in both ears, and we can't really communicate by phone. So we do a lot of texting.
Yeah, I actually always had weird hearing, and then some things happened to make it worse. I have had a lot of traumatic brain injuries between being in car accidents or doing stupid shit or being an addict and just falling a lot. Like I've had a lot of concussions, but I also was struck by lightning. It wasn't like literally, I wasn't actually struck by lightning, but it was through the phone, and I don't even know if that really counts, but I do know that it knocked me unconscious. And so a lot of things have happened to my brain. And so my hearing started to get worse as I got older, and now I wear hearing aids. It's not even worth it sometimes to try to talk to people about how that impacts my experience, because I can communicate, I speak normally. And so it's like they just forget again. And then it becomes like I have to bring it up all the fucking time and advocate for what I need all the fucking time. And I'm just not going to do that. So I'm just going to, a lot of times, I'm just going to smile and nod.
Yeah,
Happy Father's
that's what
Day,
my
by
friend
the
does.
way. Well, okay. We've been talking for a really long time. Maybe it's time to hear from this week's sponsor.
Nice.
This week's episode of Queerness is brought to you by the humble but mighty kerosene heater. May whatever god of the trailer park there is bless that big old cylinder of sheet metal and wire mesh sitting right in the middle of the single wide. It's humming away like an angry hornet, and it'll keep the living room hot enough to sweat and the back bedroom cold enough to hang beef. For folks without the credit score for a propane contract, winter means hauling around that blue 5-gallon jug and counting out pennies at a clearly haunted gas station. All season long, the children run a rotation on the red siphon pump, catching their first buzz while they squeeze the bulb until they hear that whoosh whoosh sound of the tank filling up. Gather the family for a seance to conjure the heat. Click the lighter, watch that giant cotton wick catch, and then fiddle with the knob until the flame stops smoking black soot and settles into a nice radioactive blue. There never was a less efficient heating source, meaning everybody in the house is forced to crowd around it within a 4-foot radius, like some redneck Stonehenge. And they just hadn't invented tip-over switches yet when this particular model was made, so everyone does high knees through that corner of the living room just to be safe. The trailer can become a redneck Viking funeral in under 40 seconds if we're not careful. And when a winter storm knocks out the grid for 3 days, this heater becomes a stove. You just set a greasy cast iron skillet right on top of the metal safety guard, drop in some ground beef, and fry up a batch of living room burgers while you watch the ice build up on the satellite dish outside. It's dinner and a show, provided you don't mind the taste of kerosene. It also doubles as a high-speed clothes dryer. If you drape your damp tube socks over the safety cage just right, they'll be bone dry in 5 minutes or completely melted into a toxic polyester puddle. It's a gamble every time. So thanks to this week's sponsor, the Kerosene Heater, redneck HVAC and barbecue services for those living perennially on the edge. And now, come on back to Queerness. We just put a pot of coffee on the Coleman lamp. And we really did that one time. Mom was fixing some burgers and the power went out. And so she went and turned the kerosene heater on and stuck the cast iron skillet on top of it and finished cooking the burgers.
That's hilarious. My sister, I shared a bedroom with her until I was technically until I was like 13, but I moved out to live on the couch at some point because I couldn't handle it. We had a little bedroom that had carpet on the walls, so it was like hot in there. It was the 80s. It was hot pink. It was a thing. And she would keep one of those square kerosene heaters in there with the door shut and on full blast all night. Like I couldn't breathe in there. So I refused to sleep up there. It was crazy. So I slept downstairs. My sister's nuts.
That might be another reason she's a little off.
Yeah.
That's carbon monoxide, man. That's what we had, was one of the little square ones. You can't find those anymore. The only kerosene heaters that I was able to find are the giant ones that are just for outdoor. But yeah, I remember because we would, in the winter, we would get up and turn that thing on and sit in front of it and shiver and get dressed there.
Yeah.
I miss that kerosene heater. And I have cooked many a pot of soup over a Coleman lamp.
Yeah.
The power goes out pretty often in eastern Kentucky because of the ice storms and things. It's like, I think they've done the best they could to make it a strong grid, but it's just the way the weather is there.
Yeah. My parents had a generator on their house. As soon as the electric went out, the generator kicked on. It was hardwired. It was a big one. It was propane.
I'm shopping for a backup power station currently, actually, mostly for the camper, but also because the power goes out here. Not for any good excuse, though. It's just a shitty power grid.
Yeah. We're pretty lucky here. My little town, people on the other side of the town have been having some issues with the power going out like every day, but we're 100% on. Like we've had no issues with it. So
everything's a little bit shitty here. You know, internet's kind of spotty. They send us an email. So the hot water heaters, you have two different breakers. One is for the electricity and the other one is just for the hot water heater. And they have control over it and they can turn it off. And so they'll send you an email and be like, hot water control going on. They don't email you to tell you when it's over. And so it's like, all right, I hope you showered. There's still a broke down SUV across my driveway.
Oh, yeah? Do you know whose it is?
No, and if this was Eastern Kentucky, it'd have been stripped down and sold for parts by now. That's mine. Like, this belongs to me now. I am kind of gobsmacked at how inconsiderate and rude that is.
Right? Especially for the Minnesota Nice up there.
I think the Minnesota Nice is how they get away with being so inconsiderate and rude, because people won't say shit. And there's no police to call.
Do you not have a sheriff or anything?
No, we got a sheriff, not in this count. I mean, I don't know how it works. You never see them.
Did you know that communities have to pay the sheriff's department to have coverage? Like, if you want there to be a sheriff's deputy, so where I come from, there's a little town called Rubyville, for example. It's way out in the backside of the county. You have to go out a country road, then another country road to get to that country road, right? Shit, what were we just talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Sheriffs.
Sheriff. So if you want to have a sheriff that sits out there, so if somebody calls, hey, I need the sheriff, and there's one close, your community has to give money to the sheriff's department in order for there to be like coverage out there. You have to sponsor the police officer. Otherwise, they could be anywhere in the county when somebody from there calls them. I only learned that a couple of years ago.
I don't know, maybe that's going on here, because I never see them. I got stopped by one once up in Morris, but not down here.
So who would you call if somebody was trying to break into your house?
No idea. I mean, I would dial 911. I don't know who would be answering it or how far away they would be.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why the statistics look like they do. It looks like there's more crime in cities or black neighborhoods, and it's because they're policed more. There's more cops in those. They got rid of the cops here. There are no police.
So there's no crime.
Exactly. Did you bring a noun of Appalachian interest?
Let's see here. And now it is time for our Appalachian noun of interest. Today's noun is the humble tobacco barn. Now listen, a tobacco barn is not the prettiest barn in the world. Nobody's getting married in one unless the photographer is going for seasonal allergies meets tetanus. These barns are usually painted black or otherwise dark. They're tall, a little crooked, and standing out in the field looking like they know family secrets. But around here, that kind of building stands for more than function. Tobacco barns were built for curing tobacco. That means the tobacco was hung up inside the barn so that it could slowly dry and change. It was not like tossing wet socks over a chair and hoping for the best. There is a real process to it. Air has to move through the barn. The leaves have to dry at night at the right speed. Too much damp and the tobacco could rot. Too much dry air and it could cure too fast. So these barns were built with that job in mind, and a lot of them had wooden boards with spaces between them or little doors and vents that could open and close. They might look rough because they were working farm buildings. They did not need to be cute. They needed to keep the crop from turning into a moldy sadness curtain. In burly tobacco country, which includes a lot of Appalachian Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio, and nearby places, tobacco was usually air cured. That means the barn itself helped control the process. No fancy machine was doing all the work. The farmer had to watch the weather, open the barn up, shut it back down, and hope the leaves behaved. And tobacco, much like certain relatives at Thanksgiving, did not always behave. So for a lot of Appalachian families, tobacco was not just a crop. It was the thing that paid the bills. Tobacco bought school clothes, it helped to cover Christmas, and it was the crop that kept the farm going. It was also a whole family job, which is a polite way of saying nobody got to sit around being lazy on the porch while everybody else worked. That barn was where all the work ended up. You can still see some of these relics out in fields, though not as many as there used to be. Some are leaning, some have roofs that look like they gave up during the Bush administration. Even still, others are wrapped up like weeds in the woods, trying to consume them whole. And every so often, you pass one and think, somebody ought to save that. But then you keep on driving because saving a barn costs barn money, to which I say, in this economy? The thing about tobacco barns is that they carry a complicated story in those old boards. Tobacco helped a lot of Appalachian families survive for generations, but tobacco also came with health repercussions, lots of hard labor, and greedy companies that got rich while small farmers took all the risk. So you cannot talk about tobacco barns like they are just a cute old country building. They are part of Appalachian history that is useful and sad at the same time. But you know, Appalachia knows what to do with complicated. We do not have to pretend something was perfect for it to matter. A tobacco barn can remind us of hard work, late summer air, and people coming home worn out, dirty, and ready to sit in that one chair everybody knew not to touch. It was more than a building standing in a field. It was a place where a family waited to see if the year would turn out all right. So this week we honor the tobacco barn, the old wooden thing standing out there in the field, leaning a little, holding on anyway, which to my ears is the perfect analogy for being Appalachian. That's our noun of Appalachian interest this week, the tobacco barn.
That was a lot of people's first job. A lot of people, like kids, would get jobs bundling and hanging the tobacco. They would get sick from the exposure if they touched it, like the juices or whatever come out after it's been harvested. But that's probably how they got addicted to nicotine. It's probably why everybody smokes.
Yeah.
In Appalachia. Like literally everybody smokes. It's expected.
My papaw started smoking when he was like 10 years old. Like it was just a thing that everybody did. Like everybody in my family smoked.
Yeah, it was a sign of maturity. Like a lot of these milestones came together, and working and smoking, coffee, even alcohol, they all kind of ran together. And I still there are certain class affectations I can't get rid of. Like quitting smoking was so hard because it goes with coffee, it goes with coffee and a donut or whatever.
Mine was driving and smoking. That was what was really hard for me because I was a chain smoker when I was driving, just lighting one after the other.
So soothing. And it's like, that's how you think. That's how you get time to yourself.
Yeah. The romantic affect of smoking.
Yeah. It's been 6 months since I quit. It's been a little more than that. I hit 6 months.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Maybe a week or two ago. It's been 6 months.
That's awesome.
I guess we should spin this wheel and see what our assignment for next week is. Alrighty. Okay, we've already done that one. I'm going to spin again. It landed on book report again. Is this thing weighted? Oh, okay. So similar to what we did today, this landed on YouTube night. So if there is a YouTube clip or thing that is important to you, I assume mine will be something funny, but there are also if there's a music video or something you want to watch, we can think about whether we want to do that piece live, like live stream it or something. It may not be time to set it up, but anyway, just thinking about videos that we can watch on YouTube and share with each other and share with our listeners. Why do you think YouTube night is so important it's like there's many people online have joked about how every gay person has a YouTube night.
I don't know. This is my first experience with it. So.
Well, but you and Shanna, you watch YouTube together in your
Oh yeah. All day, every day.
Like this was something that me and Sabrina and Eric and lots of other people were often invited. We would just get together over at Eric's apartment and take turns with his controller looking up YouTube videos that we remember liking. And so we would play music videos for each other or funny clips of, weird shit. Also, we would do a kind of algorithm free fall where we would just let it choose based on the thumbnail whether something we should watch it, and found some really cool stuff that way. Maybe it's part of the larger role YouTube has kind of played in media culture, but okay, yeah, that sounds fun. Listeners, if y'all have a YouTube video suggestion, let us know. Comment on the Facebook. You can @ us on Threads, and I'll check it once in a blue moon. Or email us at mailbag@queerness.com, your YouTube link.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
Put it on.
Well, hope Shanna continues to feel better.
Thank you. I'll pass along your well wishes.
Okay. And y'all just take it easy the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some garbage out, but other than that, that's the plan.
Yeah, got a little cleaning up to do as well.
Yeah, we had baby's bed still in our bedroom. We just never could throw it away, so I'm gonna take it out to the garbage and stuff like that. So
time to say goodbye.
Yeah, it's been 6 months. So.
All right, well, listeners, thanks for hanging out with us for another week, and send us your suggestions for funny or weird YouTube shit. We'll see you back here, and have a good week.
Yeah. Oh, today is West Virginia Day, so or yesterday was West Virginia Day. So if make sure that you still left out some Mountain Dew and pepperoni rolls for Mothman.
For Mothman, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy West Virginia Day.
Yeah.
And be good,
All right,
everybody,
homie.
and say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.